In case you haven't been following along, we're trying to get my 1965 Ford Falcon ready to go for Falcon Nationals in just a couple of weeks. And while I had dreams of getting it painted before then, it's just not going to happen. Carl is still going to look very different when we leave for Ford Falcon Nationals, but we still have a lot of work to do. So far, we visited the body shop and got a crash course in bodywork. We got all of Carl's trim off, and then fixed up some rust on our fender. But now it's time to get Carl completely sanded down and ready for primer. Some of the areas of Carl we have to take down to metal, like this fender. Most of it we'll just be able to scuff it all, but this fender has a lot of rough paint and some rusty areas that we need to take down to metal. We have a couple of tools that we're using, the SCT and the DA, that we haven't actually used before, so this is going to be kind of our first experience using both of these tools.
Yep.
And those are going to help us get not only the whole car scuffed, but everything down to, or the big stuff down to metal.
Yeah, let it spin up. Work a little faster.
Yeah. Okay, so we've gotten further up the fender. We are realizing that we don't think we have to take it all down to metal. The SCT is really good on flatter surfaces, but the Falcon, even though it looks like a pretty boxy car, has a lot of curves and body lines on it. So we have to do some of it by hand. Luckily, in all of the curvatures, there's just old paint. So it'll be fine if we just take it down a layer and then take the rest down to metal. So we have one fender done and completed. Now we are moving on to the hood and the other fender. This should be quicker because we basically only have to scuff all of that, which should mean that everything goes a lot quicker. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah. So when we do car work, we like to listen to movies and stuff, and we really like listening to Onward specifically.
Onward!
Which is a Disney movie. So we can't get our headphones to work, so we are synchronizing our phones so that we can both listen to the movie at the exact same time
synchronizing
while we
our
work.
onwards. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, hit. It's pretty good. That's pretty well synchronized. Yours is bigger. Why is yours bigger?
Because I have a better phone.
Oh, that's lame.
So the hood is sanded in 80 now, and we are about to sand it in 180 to finish off the hood. It's really nice to have the backlight from the garage because it makes it so that you can see what you've hit and what you haven't. But yeah, we're just gonna go at it with 180 and then finish off the hood. So for the deck lid, it's pretty gross, so we're gonna have to basically take the whole thing down to metal. But right next to it is also kind of like crackly, so we're gonna take that down pretty far till that crackliness goes away, which will probably be to metal too. So basically the back of the car is all gonna be down to metal, at least on the top. So that's what we're gonna do next. This was a really busy day for me personally. I had to go to theater and a whole bunch of other stuff. So Dad, being the wonderful person that he is.
Gling. You're so sweet.
Well, thanks. So Dad, being the wonderful person that he is, decided that he would keep going while I had to go, and he ground down half of the trunk. So we've got part of the trunk done, but you can see that it has this pittedness to it that we've been able to get out with the SCT, but yeah, we've got half of it done, so we got to get the rest of it unpitted with the SCT. So the trunk and the top of the quarter panels were taken down to metal, but we still had to do the roof. The roof had some of the same deep rusty chips that the trunk had, so we had to get the whole thing down to metal. Okay, so I had to go to a meeting, so Dad was working on the car, and he got the entire roof ground down in the SCT at 40 grit, which, thank you, Dad.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate it.
It was satisfying.
There are a few more little spots that we need to go over again, so we're going to do one more round of the SCT in a different grit, and then we'll go over with the DA in 180. So, yeah. Okay, so we had to move back inside because it started raining and metal and water do not mix.
Bare metal and water.
So we're back inside and we're just gonna finish up the back and then we'll be done for today. And done with all of the sanding.
Yes!
Okay, so we have everything stripped down, but we still need to treat the rusted metal that we just stripped. So we're gonna use some rust encapsulator to just make sure that no rust comes through when we prime it. Before we sprayed any rust encapsulator, Dad and I made sure to spray all the metal down with Pre to make sure that the metal was as clean as possible before we put it on. And once I'm done cleaning off the roof, we'll rust encapsulate it as well. I'm just doing it light here. Okay, and we're done. it. We've either scuffed the leftover paint or we've taken it down to metal and rust encapsulator it over before priming. Carl is looking kind of sad, but our next step is to do our first layer of epoxy and some more body work. But it's great to see things moving forward. So what I'm taking out of the garage is that maybe sometimes things have to get a little bit worse before they get better. Thanks as always to my executive producer, Drew Carter, and if you would like to support me, there are a few ways you can. By subscribing to Ellie's Garage, or by going to my website, elliesgarage.com, where you can find links to my Patreon and to my merch. I'll see you next time in the garage.